it up and went on to win the Most Outstanding Player award in a year that was magical for him. He tried to make it in the NFL. He had a failed CFL comeback with Hamilton. And then last week, another chance with a team that brought him into Canada, the BC Lions in Regina, and it looked like 2004 all over again. Yes, the Lions lost that game on a Printers interception in the end zone, but it sure looked like that Printers magic just might be back. Our Glenn Suter sat down this week with Casey Printers.
Casey, let's start by asking how it felt to get back into action, physically, mentally, and emotionally.
Physically, it was tough, you know, from the standpoint that you just haven't been hit, haven't taken a pounding, haven't been a part of anything physical like that for at least a year. It was everything that a player would want to be a part of. Now, having said that, as far as the psychological part of the game has gone, that is where I have improved over the last year. I hired a life coach that was able to put things in perspective for me. Basically prepared me mentally to take on any and every challenge that is given to me.
Of your 3 opportunities in the Canadian Football League, your first stop with the BC Lions, and of course with the Hamilton Tiger Cats, and then this opportunity and this start, what was the difference between your first start this time as opposed to the other 2?
Most people don't know this, but my first time playing with the BC Lions, I was terrified. I was out there, and it was just like, I don't know how this is happening, but it's happening, and it's just good fortune because I was absolutely terrified on the football field. The same mentality took hold in Hamilton. I didn't have the confidence to play the game like it was supposed to be played.
So there's more of a confidence now this time?
Absolutely, and simply because of the coaching that I've gotten in the past year about, you know, just who I am as a person and being confident in the God-given abilities that I do have.
You know, of all your former teammates that I've talked to and your current teammates here with the Lions, I have never heard a bad word about you. Is all the negative stuff that's been brought up in the past a whole lot to do about nothing?
What am I going to do? Go out there and try to, you know, talk about what the naysayers are saying and trying to prove them wrong? I'd rather not. I'd rather keep everything in house, do everything that I have been doing as far as cheering on teammates, helping the quarterbacks that are in the game. Whatever I can do to better the football team that I'm on, that's what I'm going to try to do. And I've been doing that for a long time now.
Take us through the roller coaster of emotions that was that game in Mosaic Stadium against the Riders. A great football game for you in your first game back, and yet I know the result wasn't what you wanted.
Well, the game was just like we thought it was going to be. A tough, hard, physical, hard-nosed football game. When you've been out of football for over a year and then you get thrown into an environment to where it's a playoff type atmosphere, the speed picks up. And I was late on a few reads, I was late on a few throws, and fortunately enough, athletically I was able to make up for some of the mishaps that I had psychologically and with my eyes. So that's one of the things that I've tried to improve on this week is playing the game from the ears up.
I have sort of said that this is going to be yet another chapter in what will be a real cool book to read, the return and the comeback of Casey Printers. What chapters are yet to be written with Casey Printers and with this football team? This
team is steadily improving. And, you know, once our team can get on the same accord with our head coach, because he's a genius, the guy's the greatest of all time. And if we can just follow his lead and do the things that he's asking us to do, I think that we'll be okay. I just think that, you know, we have so many upsides. We have so many great football players on this football team that we just have to believe in one another and go out and make it happen.
Thanks to Glenn and Casey for sitting down for that one. Maddie, you weren't on the panel with us last week. Milt Stegall was in that chair. You didn't get a chance to weigh in on his performance last week. What'd you think?
Well, you know, my job is to analyze. And
Yes.
when I analyzed him a couple years ago as a Hamilton Tiger Cat, he was terrible. And his attitude was terrible. As a team guy, he was terrible, and he did not live up to expectations. And my job as an analyst is not hold a grudge against a kid. Why would I hold a grudge against a kid? He's getting a second or third opportunity here with the BC Lions, and I think he's matured. He's trying to turn the page and move forward, but you can't just wash that under the table and say, what am I supposed to do? Just, try to go out there and prove all the naysayers wrong? No, just go out there and be a football player. Go out there and play with your God-given abilities, which you have a lot of, guys. In my opinion,
so you haven't forgiven him for the way he performed in Hamilton?
No, I'm not buying into one decent performance in a loss.
He has.
Yeah, and that's fine.
He has.
That's fine. The kid brings a lot to the table. I like watching him play.
Yeah.
I like watching him play, and I'm on his side. I want him to excel and turn that page.
Well, I think as the professionally amateur psychologist here, I think what's happened to Casey Printers is at certain moments he's lost faith in himself, but also at certain moments he's lost faith in the people around him. And it seems to me his whole career has fluctuated in confidence, up and down, up and down, up and down. At one point, guys, he believes himself. The next time, he doesn't believe in his people. At one point, you just got to believe.
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you one thing about Casey Printers. He made at least 4 or 5 plays in that ball game last week that he'd never make even one time in 2 years in Hamilton. I mean, that's how different a Casey Printers we saw last week.
Well, I think everybody's anxiously awaiting to see how he's going to back it up tonight at home, including a whole bunch of Lions fans. James Cebulski is here with a Sports Center update. I hear the Leafs are playing tonight in Montreal. There's a look at Romby Bryant, a guy who started the year in Winnipeg, went off last week as a Stampeder, 211 yards receiving. And how about this guy? 7 straight 1,000-yard season. Roy Simon, Superman. Looking to put on a show tonight under the big top. It is the CFL on TSN on Halloween. Welcome inside Dave Randorf, Jock Climbing, Matt Dunnigan, Chris Schultz, and that guy hanging by the noose.
He's been there all night.
I don't know. He's been there all day. Poor guy. Okay, so here we go. The BC Lions taking on the Calgary Stampeders, looking to clinch a playoff spot tonight. Remember, this is a team that started the year 1-4. They've used 4 different quarterbacks, but they seem to be getting their groove back. But now they run into the defending champs, and as we just told you, Calgary's beat them 6 straight. 6 straight, Matty. That's got to be in the backs of their heads.
Yeah, and I don't think that people realize that that does play with your mindset and your approach to the football game. Because I've been on teams. In fact, you go back to Edmonton, I played for Edmonton. We couldn't beat Toronto to save our lives. For 5 years, we couldn't beat this football team. And that does come into play when you know a team has your number and you haven't been able to play well and perform well every time out. And you go back to last year in the Western Final when Mike Labinja was playing so well and knocked out Ian Logan, which is a big factor in the Stamps for winning that football game. It was a very close football game, hard fought, which they always are because they're 2 quality football teams. But I can't stress enough the importance of having that mental edge over a team that you can't simply seem to get over the hump with.
Well, what about you, Jock? Can you relate to having a team that had your number?
Can I relate?
Yeah.
Do you remember who I used to play for?
Montreal.
The Ottawa Rough Riders.
Oh, yeah. Everybody had your number, didn't they?
There were times we'd be like, okay, boys, okay, let's have a look at the schedule here. Let's see what we got. Saskatchewan, we can never beat them. Okay, Hamilton.
Can't beat them.
3 years in a row. You just go down the list. And it would get in your head. And when you're in a bad football team, it's like everybody can beat you, and you have no confidence. And that's what it's about, is confidence. As soon as you allow a football team to convince you that you cannot beat.
Thank you, David, and happy Halloween. TSN, the exclusive broadcaster of the CFL and proud home of the Grey Cup. Penultimate game of the regular season for the Lions and Stamps on Halloween night, and we're expecting a thriller. And the stakes are high here at BC Place for John Hufnagel and the Stamps. They can clinch a home field playoff spot with a 7th consecutive victory over the BC Lions. And for Wally Buono's team, they're in with the win, and they need to close out with 2 straight victories to get home field for the Western Semi.
Still in their sights to host a playoff game after such a slow start, but most importantly for the BC Lions, they've been snake bit against the Calgary Stampeders. You mentioned it's 6 straight games. The last time the Lions beat Calgary was 2007.
There's Demetrius Summers along with John Eubanks deep for Calgary. We're underway. 3rd meeting of the year. The Stamps with a crashing 48-10, and they get off to a great start here. Their last visit to Vancouver And a big kick return for Demetrius Summers to set things up for Henry Burris.
6-5-1 as a starter against the BC Lions as a Calgary Stampeder. Of course, he'll have the leading rusher heading into the week in the CFL, and Joffrey Reynolds in the backfield. His receiving core, Nick Lewis, getting back on track in the slot back position. Bit of a drought, the touchdown department for Jermaine Copeland. Of course, Robbie Bryan had the big game, and O'Neill will play guard for Jesse Newman.
There's a big defensive play on first down because Joffrey Reynolds has run all over BC this year. Dropped for a loss on the opening play from scrimmage as Ricky Foley, tied for the sack lead, comes up with a tackle.
Yeah, he is their leader. 11 sacks in that defensive line. On the other side, Brent Johnson, bit of a slow year for him. Just 6 on the season. The linebacking core led by Jawan Armour in the middle. Anton McKenzie, one of the top players as far as playmakers in that defense. And Tad Crawford in at safety for Barron Miles. LeVar Glover on the corner.
Starting lineup brought to you by Nissan, fan and proud sponsor of the CFL, and it's going to be 2nd and 17. Ricky Foley.
Procedure, Calgary number 64. 5-yard penalty. Repeat, 2nd down.
Jeff Belon has to deal with Ricky Foley tonight and came out of his stance too quickly.
I think the #1 objective in talking to all the BC Lion defenders was to try and control Joffrey Reynolds. 2 big games this year against the Lions rushing the football, both over 100 yards.
So now 2nd and 17. And this time the Lions looked like they were jumping, and did they get drawn again? So everybody a little jumpy.
Everybody a little tense in this one right out of the gate. Emotions running high right out of the gate. Know the importance of this game.
Offside. BC number 97. 5-yard penalty. Repeat, 2nd down.
Brent Johnson.
I think Brent Johnson was complaining that up front, Rob Lazio might have been moving the ball around a little bit before the snap. Something was drawing the defensive line. The whole right side of it jumped offside there. They called the Lions on the offside, so those 2 penalties just basically equal out.
Well, the guys have been into the Halloween candy early. 2nd and 12, and Burris a crosser, and I'm not sure where that was going. Incomplete.
This is a play that the Calgary Stampeders are going to run, I'm sure, much more tonight. It's an over and under basic call with Nick Lewis on the under and a receiver over the top. And the reason they're going to try and do this a lot is they're going to try and see if they can isolate on the replacement safety, which is Tad Crawford in his 3rd year with the Lions, with Barron Miles out with a hamstring injury. We'll see more of that over and under, I'm sure. See if they can take advantage of the middle of the field.
Michael Bumpus and Ryan Grace Mullen are deep as Bert Dales gets set to kick. The #1 punter in the league at 45.8, but that's not one of his best. And Grace Mullen will trot into the Lions bench at around the 40, just a 33-yard kick for Bert Dales. Well, Casey Printers leads the offense out. It was the 3rd best day by a BC quarterback last week in Saskatchewan.
339 yards passing in his first game. A.J. Harris will be the starting running back. Martel Mallet out due to injury. There's the receiving core with Michael Bumpus in his 2nd start. Changes up front. Dean Valley's at center. Justin Sorensen at left guard.
And it will be 2nd man through A.J. Harris. And he gets up to the 42, close to 4 for the man taking the spot of Martel Mallet.
With the changes in the BC Lion offensive line, you know the Calgary Stampeders up front are going to try and take advantage of those changes. And that's Charleston Hughes with 6 sacks in his 6 games back. Tim Johnson in the middle linebacker position. And then in the secondary, you got Dwight Anderson, Brandon Browner on the corners.
So passing down for Casey Printers, who told you that things were a little faster last week than he would have liked. He has a completion and a 1st down toss to Emmanuel Arsenault with Shannon James in coverage.
In case you missed the pregame show, I got a nice sit-down interview with Casey Printers after his first game back in a year's time, basically, being out of action. He said it was pretty fast for him. It was a playoff type of atmosphere, and he tried to improve on the mental part of the game this week during the work week.
So 1st and 10. And he goes deep and wide open is Arsenault. Busted coverage. And Arsenault tossed down at the 2 as he got in behind Dwight Anderson. 60 yards, Printers to Arsenault.
This is one of the plays that the timing for Casey Printers last week in that game versus Saskatchewan wasn't quite perfect. He's going to run that basic read play, that zone read play that Henry Burris likes to run for the Calgary Stampeders. He takes the ball, pulls it away from A.J. Harrison, finds an Emmanuel Arsenault wide open behind the coverage. Dwight Anderson saves a touchdown, but you get Casey Printers out on the edge in open field with the option to run or throw. It puts a bind on the defense.
Biggest play of the year for Arsenault. 1st and goal from the 1. A.J. Harris to the goal line. Touchdown.
Right to start. The BC Lions mix up a little run with A.J. Harris, finish it off with A.J. Harris, but the big play on the play action to find Emmanuel Arsenault, a broken coverage for the Calgary secondary right out of the gate, but again, with Printers on the edge, it's like having Henry Burris out there on the edge. It puts your defense in a real bind.
If he broke the plane, it wasn't by much. McCallum drills the extra point. 4 plays, 72 yards. Opening drive, touchdown.
Bit of balance and then play action for the big play to Emmanuel Arsenault.
Summers again. And this time dropped just beyond the 35-yard line. As Darren Toney made the tackle.
Henry Burris seems to have broken out of his slump. He went through after the Labor Day rematch with the Edmonton Eskimos, went through a 4-game streak there where his numbers were way down. He was below 50% in his completion percentage and under 200 yards passing at 168 on average for those 4 games. Last 2, he's improved dramatically.
69% in the last 2. Play action fake to Reynolds. Downfield it goes and out of the reach. The intended target, Jermaine Copeland.
Joffrey Reynolds, the leading rusher in the league. We mentioned his big games against BC. In his last 5 games against the Lions, he's been over 100 yards in 4 of them. There's his totals, and what is most impressive to me is that average. Every time that Joffrey Reynolds against the Lions has touched the football, it's been right around that first down mark, the 8.2 yards per carry. The Lions understand that. They've been better against the run, but that's their challenge tonight.
131 and 151. Here comes the blitz. They jump too quick. Offside pending. And maybe a free play. The ball falls loose. Incomplete as they try and hook up with R.J. Franklin. Again, the Lions showed blitz. Were they drawn off or were they just a little jumpy?
I know Baron Miles' replacement at safety, Tad Crawford, had come up in the line of scrimmage, and he got real close to that neutral zone. I know he'd be anxious to try and make a play early.
BC number 3, 5-yard penalty. Repeat, 2nd down.
And it is Crawford, the architecture graduate from Columbia.
He's going to just come from the left side here of the formation. They're going to show Javi Glad in the line of scrimmage and then have him drop out, bring Crawford in. You can see he and a teammate were in that neutral zone.
So 2nd and 5 for the Stamps. Looking for their initial first down. Robbie Bryant incomplete. Bryant, the offensive player of the week, who lit it up last week with 211 yards against the Eskimos.
The last time a Stampeder did that, Chris, was 2003. That was a little bit surprising to me when I read that. It's been that long when you have the likes of Nick Lewis, Jermaine Copeland, Kenyon Rambo over the last couple of years, and no receiver had those kind of numbers since Darnell McDonald back in July of '03. So a big game last week for Robbie Bryant.
So Henry Burris starts 0 for 3. Burke Dale's trying to improve on a 33-yarder, his first kick of the game. And Bumpus on the run. Up to the 39-yard line. And that's a 38-yard kick by Dales. First possession of the game, the Lions score a touchdown, 4 plays, 72 yards, and they go back to work, starting at their 39. Pressure, and Printers looking for Paris Jackson, who had room way behind John Eubanks, and Printers got it away with Charleston Hughes bearing down.
Printers tried to go with the same play that he got the big play to Emmanuel Arsenault on the first series of this game. It's Paris Jackson on the corner route. He's wide open from the get-go. It's just a matter of whether or not Printers will have the time to throw that football. This time, Charleston Hughes was not fooled by the play action, went straight up the field and put a pretty good hit on the quarterback.
Lions had 4 plays of 30 yards or longer last week against Saskatchewan. They've already had 2 in this game. The 60-yarder to Arsenault, 35 to Jackson, and now A.J. Harris is cut down. Keon Raymond with the tackle.
And really, with a lot of the changes the Lions have had to go through here going into this game, so far so good up front for Dean Valley, playing center for Angus Reid, who is gone for the year, hurt in the first half versus the Saskatchewan Roughriders, went the whole game basically on one leg, and that moves Justin Sorensen over to left guard. So 2 newcomers up there up front.
Angus Reid, after 142 consecutive games, they run on 2nd and long, and it's not going anywhere as Jim Davis snuffed it out in that front for the Stamps. Celebrates the stuff.
Jim Davis slashed right through there, right by Dean Valley, who's got a lot on his mind and a lot on his plate in this game. He's got to get the ball to the quarterback. That's his priority. He's got to make the calls up front. You'd be surprised to see Jim Davis, interior of that defensive line, have some success at least early until Dean Valley can settle in a little bit.
Paul McCallum surveying a 43-yard attempt. Buck Pierce holds, and McCallum splits it. And the Lions jump to an early 10-0 lead. First place in the West next week, and you wonder if both teams were looking ahead, considering the Rough Riders' performance today and the start for the Stamps. Summers runs out of real estate at the 37.
By the looks of the head coach and John Huffnagel, a little bit of concern on his face when he watches his offense off to a real slow start in this game against a fired-up BC Lion defense. You know, during the week, John Huffnagel ended a practice early because he just didn't see the effort he wanted on the practice field, and the sense of urgency. That was in midweek. Sent all the guys into the locker room early, was real upset with them.
We were practicing mediocrity. That's not the way I coach, said the coach. See if they can get something going on the ground with Joffrey Reynolds. Good run. Surprised with the 2 wins this year. The Stamps have actually rushed for more yards than they've passed against the Lions.
Yeah, well, when you get that running game going, why not stay with it? And that's exactly what they've done in 2 games against BC. In fact, Henry Burris has averaged 180 yards passing in those 2 games and really hasn't had to throw the ball a bunch.
Game is simplified when you get 9 on first down. Now the end around to Robbie Bryant, and he has a first down and turns it up across midfield to the Lion 53. Tad Crawford there, the safety. 9 for Bryant on the ground.
The key block made there was on the tweener linebacker slash halfback in Corey Banks, number 24 at the point of attack. Joffrey Reynolds is going to take off to the right side and try and lead it up, and see he cuts the feed out from under number 24, Corey Banks, who can't turn that play back inside.
That's the initial first down for the Stamps on their 3rd possession of the game. And back to Reynolds, and nothing doing that time. Aaron Hunt was there.
You know, and people wonder, with the success that Joffrey Reynolds had in those 2 games here in Vancouver, what does the defense really have to do? And it really starts and ends with Aaron Hunt and Steve Williams in the middle. If those 2 interior defensive linemen get a good push and could push Rob Lazio, Demetrius Sumpas, and Tim O'Neill back into the backfield, then they will have success against the run. And you can see the difference that it makes when they stop it.
Lions last against the run. Second and a pump from Burris. Aaron Hunt in pursuit, and that ball is incomplete. And Aaron Hunt got a late shot in on the quarterback. And Henry still looking for his first completion of the night.
Well, they're in hostile territory, and they did establish a little run there in this series. If you're trying to find positives and you're a Calgary Stampeder fan. But you're right, the passing game looks a little out of sync early on. I give credit to the Lions secondary without their captain in Baron Miles in the middle.
Michael Bumpus, Ryan Grace Mullen drop inside their 10. And Grace Mullen from his 6. And a good tackle downfield. That's Charleston Hughes, and a better kick, 49 yards. Earlier in the week, tonight, Farhan Lalji's with Baron Miles.
Yeah, almost as important. Baron, if Wally Buono said if this was the Grey Cup, you'd be playing. Tell us about the injury and how close you are to returning.
I'm very close. I probably could have played tonight, but I don't know if I'd have played, if I'd have made it the rest of the season. So we're just playing it safe.
37 years old, but you've had 4 interceptions in the last 2 games. Talk a bit about this resurgence at this stage.
I mean, a lot of the young guys start fast. I say it's all about the finish. You want to maintain, keep an even kill, and you want to finish strong.
Thanks, guys. Chris, back to you.
65 career interceptions, and apparently Baron Miles this week is trying to tell us that there's a mistake on his birth certificate. He's really a couple of years younger. Wide open, there's G-Roy Simon, and a first down to the 26.
Big play for Casey Printers in this offense to get out of the hole. Get down inside their own 10-yard line. That first down, so important to try and get positive yards. Get yourself out of trouble so that even if you have to punt the ball, you don't lose too much in the field position battle. But Printers moving around in that pocket quite nicely and perfect so far on the evening.
Stamps have done a great job of negating G-Roy Simon in the first 2 games. Just 4 catches, 69 yards. Printers remains red hot. Well, there's his favorite target. Simon pushed out by Keon Raymond close to another Lion first down.
And I know that all eyes, especially in the coaching staff for the BC Lions, will be on number 54, Dean Valley, in the middle of that offensive line, working on Miguel Robiday, keeping him out of the face of Casey Printers. A good start for Valley, especially when you consider he's got to, first of all, get that shotgun snap cleanly back to the quarterback.
Now, the Lions certainly would rather have Angus Reid in there, but there was a thought that maybe Dean Valley is a better center than he is a left guard. We'll find out in the next few weeks.
You know, Wally Buono mentioned it during the week, and it's very true of any time that a player gets hurt. And it is the opportunity of that guy that's been the backup, who's been in a different position possibly. And you're right, Dean Valley may show something at center, and that may be a position that he settles in. Angus Reid will not play forever. Baron Miles is not going to play forever. Who's going to be the next safety for the BC Lions? Maybe it's Tad Crawford. Who's the next center? Maybe it's Dean Valley. This is their opportunity to prove that.
Not to mention number 68, Justin Sorensen, the rookie from Parksville, getting his first CFL start. 2nd and inches. And Printers get pushed back there, but a surge forward. Good second effort. And that should get the first down.
It's the one thing about Casey Printers that, you know, when things break down for him, like he did in 2004 with the BC Lions, like he did last week in his first game in a year back in live action, when things break down, he can make up for it athletically.
First start at BC Place Stadium since November of 2005. From the gun, pressure on. Tay George was there, and they're going to call grounding the football as George looks for his first sack of the season and gets to the quarterback.
Yeah, that's exactly what he tried to do. Looks like he might be a little shaken up after it too, because he tried to throw this football away, Casey Printers, and I think he thought he had A.J. Harris there possibly
grounding,
to the left.
BC number 1. It's second down at the point he threw the ball. Second down.
But Harris was trying to pick up Tay George and wasn't close enough to that football, so it didn't cross the line of scrimmage. That's intentional grounding.
George with 8 sacks as a Stampeder 2 years ago. Was on the Dallas Cowboy practice roster last year.
line.
And a loss of 13. Here comes more heat. Printers shrugs it off. First time and the second. How do you escape? Downfield. Simon knocked down. Incomplete. But a little magic from Casey Printers under siege.
And a nice standing ovation from a lot of the crowd here in BC Place, who are starting to remember that 04 season and some of the magic, because he has that escapability.
As G. Simon mentioned the other day, he can take a 6-second play and extend it to 15, and he almost did on this one. Paul McCallum boots it away. Marcus Howell up across the 50-yard line, so good field position for the Stampeders here with under 2.5 minutes remaining in the opening quarter.
Mentioned Henry Burr's slump, and in his last 2 games, he breaks out of them, and not a surprise that one of those games was against the Edmonton Eskimos, who just seems that Henry Burris has his best games against Edmonton. That win clinched a playoff spot. Now they just have to try and clinch home field.
346 last week, his first 300-yard game since the Labor Day rematch against Edmonton. They start at the 51, and Reynolds, second surge, gets him a couple. Brought down by Anton McKenzie.
And I talked to a lot of the Lions secondary about Tad Crawford playing safety and replacing Baron Miles, who we heard from a moment ago on the sideline. And they're pretty confident with Tad Crawford. He's been in the organization for 3 years. His opportunity to step in, they feel like he can make all the checks. Baron Miles will talk to him and communicate on the sideline with him every time he comes off the field. He just has to believe what he sees and take advantage of this opportunity.
Rob with a shotgun snap. He has to get rid of it quickly. Rob Cote has it. There is a penalty flag down as Cote has a big gain inside the Lion 30. Let's see if it stands. Lions were showing blitz.
Jeff Pilon says against BC.
That front offside, we'll find out from Glenn Johnson.
Offside. BC number 97. That penalty's declined. First down.
Brent Johnson called for the second time. 28-yard gain for Cote stands.
Brent Johnson's in the short side of the field. He's offside here, but the Calgary Stampeders will take the play, and Rob Cote's been on a bit of a roll.
Yes, he has.
You know, placing Teo Johnson. Plays a little bit of that tight end, will come out of the backfield, has a couple of touchdowns in the last 2 games, 1 each.
Native of Cochrane, Alberta. Teo Johnson is getting close to returning. There's that zone read. Rob Cote's going to romp again down inside the 10 to the 5. Does he get to the goal line? Dropped at the 1 by Tad Crawford. And how about that extra effort?
Well, first, Chris, I like the recognition from Henry Burris to pull the ball here on Joffrey Reynolds, because the play is designed for him to have that option. How many times have we shown you this play where Joffrey Reynolds is going to hit the line here? He's going to pull it because he sees Cote's not covered coming out of the backfield. So he pulls it out of the stomach of Joffrey Reynolds, has a wide open Rob Cote out in the flat there, and now it's just a matter of can he win the race to the end zone and gets right down there on the doorstep.
Back-to-back 28-yard plays, which represents his longest of the season. So first and goal with Cote and Reynolds behind Burris, sneaking ahead and waiting for a signal. Touchdown.
Two or three of the BC Lion tacklers were trying to tackle Joffrey Reynolds, who did not have the football, and Henry Burris just keeps chugging away here.
James Yurichuk trying to pull somebody back.
That was Joffrey Reynolds who didn't have the ball. Look who else is playing in that offensive set down on the goal line. Tim Johnson, the middle linebacker.
Anton McKenzie there, but Burris does break the plane. Calgary's on the board. DeAngelis the point after, and Henry Burris has his 9th rushing touchdown of the season, and it's a 3-point game.
So going offensively after good field position. All starts with the big punt from Burton Dales to put the BC Lions offensively in a hole. They got 1 first down, gave the ball back to Henry Burris, and in good field position, he takes advantage of it. You see the big middle linebacker, Tim Johnson, in motion there. Rob Cote, he goes off the left side, and then it's just a battle, and they keep playing. You can see Jeremy Gibbs trying to strip the ball out, can't get it out of the hands of Henry Burris.
So after a sluggish start, some traction for the Calgary offense, right back in it. Stamps don't want to go to Regina next week, needing a win to avoid a 3rd-place finish.
Yeah, home field very important. I mean, if you can get it, think of the revenue possibilities for the ball club. Very important in the big picture, the long-term budget for ball clubs to get that home playoff game. The BC Lions still have a chance at it. Calgary can win and get it.
Final play of the opening quarter. Ryan Bryce Mullen through an arm tackle and up across the 40-yard line. He's drilled out by Malik Jackson. And we're through 15 minutes on Halloween night in Vancouver. Tim Hortons, always fresh, always.
Lions got off to a good start with a big play to Emmanuel Arsenal. They also had a long ball to Paris Jackson. Calgary just started getting traction, you mentioned, Chris, at the end of that first quarter, and they're starting to get that offense rolling.
And after a great start for Casey Printers, we saw more pressure from the Calgary Stampeders.
Well, that's what Saskatchewan did last week to test Casey Printers, to see if he could handle the pressure, if he could make those quick reads. I expect Calgary defensively to do a lot more of that in this game as well, especially with the offensive line changes the BC Lions have had to go through.
Surroundings a little scary, aren't they? And so are those faces, I guess. Halloween night, a lot of fun here in the stands at BC Place. And here comes another blitz, and they hand it off, and A.J. Harris found a seam and takes it up to the 48-yard line.
Yeah, that's the other change. Yet another change for the Lions, and Martel Mallet, great rookie season for him, is out due to injury, hurt his foot last week versus Saskatchewan. But they do have A.J. Harris, who was also banged up in that game. Both were on the roster last week. Harris had a bit of a shoulder issue, but is okay to go tonight.
Jamal Lee is the backup running back. If Harris can't finish, we've seen him in the offensive set on first down a couple of times. Second down here, more heat. Malik Jackson was blitzing, and the pass is incomplete, intended for Simon, with John Eubanks in coverage.
And there comes that blitz that we talked about, Calgary Stampeders wanting to send pressure. Malik Jackson, the linebacker, and you can see Tim Johnson up in the line of scrimmage, number 0. Both are going to come on the blitz, and that flushes Casey Printers out of there. Malik Jackson in chase. He just underthrows G-Roy Simon by about a yard. Might have been able to pick up a first down running the ball there.
Paul McCallum the boot. Marcus Howell draws the 5-yard no yards after a 36-yard kick by McCallum.
No yards. BC number 49. 5-yard penalty. First down.
James Jurachuk. So Henry Burris goes back to work and happy to be facing an old adversary.
Well, he's only going to get better. I mean, hopefully we can cause him to have a second-week hiccup or something like that. I mean, and I know our defense, they're all pumped up and ready to go just because of the challenge of such a great quarterback. And I know for me, it's great to see him back in the league because, you know, for a guy who was the MVP a few years ago, and, you know, he had a rough stay in Hamilton, but not everywhere you go is the best fit for you.
And Henry Burris is starting to warm up as he hooks up with Jermaine Copeland.
It's a good point that Henry Burris makes, that it's not always the best fit. Sometimes, you know, you're more comfortable. I think Casey Printers looks right in an orange jersey. It just seems right. And interesting that Henry Burris, who has a very similar style in a lot of ways, very athletic quarterback, can run around, make people miss, and also has a good, strong arm.
2nd and 4. There's Cote again. Rob Cote with another first down, his 3rd for the Stamps offense in this first half, a 10-yard pickup.
Yeah, it's interesting because if you're the BC Lions defensively, I'm sure that in your meetings this week, you probably weren't talking too much about Rob Cote, although he does have a couple of touchdowns in the last 2 weeks, but your game plan is more around Joffrey Reynolds, probably Jermaine Copeland, little Nick Lewis, probably Robbie Bryant.
Yeah, who's he think he is, Robbie Bryant? 10 yards there, 66 in the game, and Burris looking deep, looking for Bryant, who has a step, Dante Marsh. Burris to Bryant, it's a 53-yard gain.
Well, no question they were going here from the get-go. Robbie Bryant just comes out of his stance in a hurry, nothing real fancy, tries to stem him to the outside. That means trying to just shade the outside a little bit and then cut back to make Dante Marsh have to turn blindly and try and catch up. He can't do it. The ball laid right out there in front of him to allow Robbie Bryant to use his speed to run underneath it.
Had 3 plays of 40 yards or more last week. There's another big one. Setting up 1st and goal from the Lion 8-yard line. Cote was in motion. Reynolds to the 5. Dragged down by defensive tackle Stephen Williams.
You know, one of the question marks for BC coming in was how would LeVar Glover play on the wide side corner, number 27, replacing Tristan George due to injury. But that was Dante Marsh, the veteran of 6 years that Robbie Bryant just ran a nice route on and got in behind.
So it's 2nd and goal from the 5. Bryant motion from the backfield. And Burris into the end zone. Touchdown. And it is the 1st of the year for Nick Lewis. And he doesn't know what to do.
He's not sure what, he's not been there all year.
Oh, Nick Lewis over 900 yards this year, and at last in game 17 has his first major score.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, he's a great football player, but Nick Lewis is an entertainer.
Yes, he is. Extra point, DeAngelis, and just like that, the Stampeders have the lead, and Nick Lewis has a touchdown catch. He does know his way into the end zone.
I got my jams in there right now. I got Michael Jackson. I got this going on. All the jams.
Now, did he freeze? Like, he always has some sort of celebration. But maybe it's been so long. He just froze. I'm not sure. I can't remember my celebrations anymore.
Stampeders offside on the kickoff. Ryan Grace Mullen tripped up as he got to the 30.
I'll show you why Nick Lewis is open. Usually there's a safety in the middle to help here. Nick Lewis is over here, but let me show you what happens inside where Rob Cote lines up against Tad Crawford. If Crawford, the safety, is taking Cote in man-to-man, here they go as they go across the field here. You can see here's the man-to-man with the safety in the middle. No safety there, so now Henry Burris knows all I have to do is lead Nick Lewis in front of him, and that should make...
Calgary number 34. A re-kick 5 yards back.
That should make it impossible for Ryan Phillips to catch up. And Nick Lewis goes, what do I do? I've not been here all year.
Text messages because I scored a touchdown in my phone. A TSN shining moment. One shining moment.
A singer,
Oh,
a dancer, a football
TSN.
player.
Wow. Maybe you can do a TSN special for my first touchdown. They like present me the ball, give me a cake. Everything, just all that.
Ferdy
Like chocolate
Kasheva
cake.
was offside, so the Stampeders have to
Cake.
kick again. Here's Bryce Mullen again. Better return. And all the way across midfield. Look out. One man back. Milton Collins. And from behind, he's taken down. But Ryan Grace Mullen has a 79-yard kick return for the Lions.
Boy, this often happens when you have a penalty on the punt team or a penalty on the kickoff team where those cover guys have to go back, line up again, and take another 40-yard sprint. Fatigue catches up to him a little bit. And Ryan Grice-Mullen, who was off the roster last week, takes advantage of that as he takes about 4 steps to the middle of the field and then bounces it outside, getting some good angles for his blockers, and away he goes.
Longest return of the year for the Lions, who do not have a return touchdown this season. And somebody in that offensive line came out of their stance prematurely. And suddenly, after the quick Lions start, this offense is spinning its tires.
Procedure, BC number 60. 5-yard penalty. Repeat, first down.
Jason Jimenez, the right tackle.
I think one of the reasons for that, Chris, is that D-line for Calgary Stampeders, Tate George has got some pressure. Jim Davis, a little penetration in the middle, and then that's caused some problems since the opening couple of drives.
First and 15. There's an open man, and Lee has his first catch. Jamal Lee taken down at the 19-yard line. Tackled by Dwight Anderson. The youngster out of Bishops, the number 3 pick.
DC Lions traded up to get him in the draft this year, and he's going to get his first taste of live action coming out of the backfield with the offense. He's in there with A.J. Harris, a little crossing route for him, and have to give him a real crash course with the injury to Martell Mallett. He might see a lot of playing time in the next couple games.
Your old teammate's son, Orville Lee.
Yeah.
Second down, ball batted down. And the Lions will have to settle for a 3-point effort after the great return by Ryan Grace Mullen.
Offensive series for the Calgary Stampeders have really taken some momentum here. This is really a win for them after the return. If you can hold the BC Lions to a field goal, you really win the momentum battle there.
And McCallum puts it through. 1-point game. Stampeders lead it 14-13. They're having fun on Halloween here at BC Place. First 10. Then back-to-back Calgary touchdowns, a field goal from the Lions, and a 1-point game. Demetrius Summers to the 39-yard line, and Jamal Lee makes the kick cover tackle.
16 games into the regular season, and Nick Lewis finally finds the end zone here in BC Place Stadium against the Lions, and maybe that's one of the reasons. Because a year ago, this was Nick Lewis's last touchdown catch until the one tonight, again against the BC Lions. November 1st, 2008, his last one.
Ron Harper offside as they hand the football off, and once again, the BC Lions are going to be tagged with an offside penalty.
There it is. That's the grand piano. That's the grand piano off the back of 82.
Offside. BC number 11. 5-yard penalty. Repeat first down.
You know, the BC Lions really have to clean up a lot of these little issues they're having, both offensively and defensively. Just little lack of focus at the point of attack at times. Most of the time coming just before the snap of the ball. Some procedure calls, some offside calls.
We've mentioned 6 straight losses to Calgary. Is there a bit of a psychological hurdle here? Open fast tonight. There's Burris with a pump. Nobody there. So now he'll run for his life and he'll get tripped up. Ball out. And are they going to call it an incompletion or was he down?
Now he showed you a little of his capability as he looked like he was caught in the backfield. First of all, Brent Johnson from the backside of the play looked like he had a shot at him. He's coming from over here. Johnson comes off the edge, picked up by Joffrey Reynolds initially. Now Burris tries to escape that way. Johnson misses him. Foley's in chase. Jeremy Gibbs, and yeah, are they going to rule him down? No, they're not.
Called incompletion and 2nd and 5. Here comes the blitz. Armour picked up. And the ball is caught. Rob Cote with his 4th catch taken down by Javi Glatt. Here's a guy with 3 catches on the year coming in and 4 tonight.
They're taking him and putting him outside. Started 0-4 Henry Burris. He got Rob Cote involved, and they're taking him, moving him around. They usually line up him or Teo Johnson at either tight end or in the backfield. And this time, George Cortez, offensive coordinator, is moving him around a little bit, putting him out at receiver, out at slot back.
1st and 10. Reynolds gets to midfield. 3 to 4 yards for Joffrey Reynolds. Looks like the Lions are trying to get more pressure with just 2 sacks in the first 2 games against Henry Burris this year.
Well, what they're trying to do, Chris, if they're going to take the fullback and Rob Cote and move him outside, move him around in the slot back, then the Lions can go ahead and blitz a linebacker, try and get after Joffrey Reynolds if they run, or get to Henry Burris because there's less blocking help from the fullback back there.
2nd and 6, and there's Cote moving around again in motion. Out as a receiver, and over the middle and out of the reach of Jermaine Copeland. And Jermaine Copeland looking for his first catch of the night.
Well, he got off to such a great start and has had a tremendous year, over 1,000 yards, 12 touchdowns on the season, but it's been 4 games.
Yes.
Since he's found the end zone.
But a good offense. Guys take their turns. Last week it was Romby Bryant. And Copeland's taken a lot of turns this year.
Yeah, that was real important to get Romby Bryant involved and to have Henry Burris have that 3rd real major weapon in the passing game.
Under 6 minutes remaining here in the first half as it's launched by Dales and will bounce into the end zone. And Grace Mullen.
I'm wondering
he
touched that.
Was a little casual with that one, but he'll drop a knee, and it's a single point and a 2-point Calgary lead. Michael Bumpus had his first CFL touchdown catch in Regina last week. With more, here is Farhan.
Yeah, Chris, there was a lot of talk about Casey Printer's performance last week, particularly on that play when he rolled to his left and found Bumpus. But the catch by Bumpus may have been even more impressive. The Lions have had this guy on their radar for the last 2 years. They thought they almost had him a year ago, but then the Seattle Seahawks wound up keeping him and putting him on their active roster. This year when the Seahawks cut him, he had some more opportunities in the NFL, but he and his wife live in the Seattle area. She's expecting their first child. He wanted to be close to home. The Lions are a big beneficiary, and the coaching staff loves this guy's hands, and they've talked about getting him more involved as they head into the playoff drive here.
Was a terrific catch, and he also has the ability to return kicks.
You saw that line on Bumpus in game 1, 3 for 27, long 29. He had the amazing catch for the touchdown, and then 2 catches that he actually lost yards.
Yeah, that hit screen wasn't quite as effective, was it? 2nd and 8. 5 receivers out, and Arsenault's got another catch at a first down near the 50-yard line. In front of the safety, Wes Lysak.
Let's take a look at that Michael Bumpus catch in Mosaic Stadium. Casey Printers rolling to his left, makes a pretty incredible throw. That's one of the throws that John Climby talked about in our pregame show that not many guys could make, but it was an even more spectacular catch at the other end. Michael Bumpus shows you that he is a keeper. Lines will go to him.
A.J. Harris is cut down as he crosses the 50-yard line. The tackle made by Shannon James. Halfback blitz on the play there from Keon Raymond.
Well, that's going to be the challenge for the Lions offensively. How are they going to pick up the blitz from the Calgary Stampeders? Chris Jones is going to send pressure. He's going to see if the offensive line, with all their changes, can handle that pressure up front. And can Casey Printers make the quick reads and find the hot receivers? You know, Chris Jones likes that style anyway.
Yeah. Second and a long 7. Time. And a tackle made. O'Neal Wilson to catch. Shannon James there to knock him down 3 yards short of the first down.
Michael Bumpus will get a little different style of coverage in this game tonight against the Calgary Stampeders, and the likes of number 27, Brandon Browner, jams him nice at the line of scrimmage, stays right in that hip pocket and really eliminates that as a target for Casey Printers. He had to go underneath to Wilson, and that'll be short.
Howell deep, and McCallum will look for the corner. Trying to pin as it bounces down inside the 20, and a good job by Paul McCallum. They'll mark it at the 15-yard line.
This is really the type of game really thought that we would see. I mean, the Calgary Stampeders got off to that slow start offensively, but Henry Burris is starting to move things. You're going to see a few defensive plays and defensive stops throughout this. Both defenses coming along in the last 3-4 weeks, and it often comes down to the wire. There have been the odd blowouts. The Calgary Stampeders put it on the Lions one time this year, but it's been 6 straight for John Hufnagel since taking over the Calgary Stampeders. Wally Buono has not beat John Hufnagel yet.
Late defensive change for the Lions as Javi Glatt checks in for Darren Toney. There's Reynolds. And through an arm tackle, and Joffrey Reynolds with a good run to the 25, close to the first down. Glenn Johnson's crew gives the bench just a 3-minute warning here. A 2-point Stamp lead. Big is on this interesting first half between two Western rivals.
Nothing new for Matty. Out there playing hurt. Long way from his heart.
2nd and inches and a plunge forward for a first down.
Matty just straps an aspirin to it and goes right back in the game.
I mean, if he could do it in the '91 Grey Cup game.
Yeah, with one arm. And the arm that was missing was the one that throws the ball.
Well, John Hufnagel likes the second quarter a lot better than that first quarter.
No, not surprising. I mean, anytime you're on the road, you want to sort of survive the first couple of series and then start to battle back and settle in.
Joffrey again, and Anton McKenzie hanging on. He makes the tackle. The Lions telling us before the game that McKenzie has scored the highest in the defensive ratings for the Lions this year.
Yes, absolutely, and he's really been one of the reasons that their run defense has improved so dramatically since the Winnipeg debacle, where they just were awful against the run. The next on that list, by the way, has been Corey Banks as far as making plays in the defense.
Nominations coming out, they'll tell you that McKenzie's the most consistent, Banks the most outstanding. 2nd and long, and Henry Burris for Bryant again, and it's incomplete. Caught the ball but did not get a foot down, but Robbie Bryant's giving both corners of the Lions a headache in this first half.
And LeVar Glover is lucky here that that ball takes Robbie Bryant out of bounds, because he was beat, and the reason he was beat is that just before we pick him up in this replay, he was looking back at Henry Burris, even though he was in man-to-man defense on Robbie Bryant. If a receiver runs by the defensive back and you are beaten You have to find your receiver first before you start looking back for the ball, or you'll just have the best seat in the house for a touchdown catch, but the ball took Bryant out of bounds.
LeVar Glover, a 3-year starter who lost his job to Tristan George, who was injured last week in Saskatchewan. Burke Dales sends it to Michael Bumpus. And John Cornish, the new Westminster product, is downfield first to make the tackle. And Casey Printers and the Lions have 96 seconds to work with here in this first half.
Well, and they've shown pedal to the metal in these situations over the last few games. I mean, the BC Lions winning 3 of their last 4 games against Saskatchewan, Edmonton, and a tough one out in Winnipeg. And of course, the loss last week on the last play of the game in overtime to the Saskatchewan Roughriders.
Scratching and clawing all year since a run and 4 start. Casey unloads. Watch G-Roy Simon. Milton Collins, center field, has the interception. Just the 5th in 11 games for that Calgary Stampeders secondary.
This is going to happen occasionally with Casey Printers, because when he goes deep to G-Roy Simon, he doesn't care if Simon is covered. Now the ball comes a little too far inside, and that's why Milton Collins then becomes a factor. So G-Roy Simon tried to become defensive back there and just caused the incompletion. It was overthrown first, and then secondly, that ball was too far inside, brought the safety into play. If Casey Printers leads G-Roy Simon to the boundary, he might have a chance on Keon Raymond.
Just the 13th interception of the year for the Stamps. 4 have come against BC. So Henry Burris has a chance to add to the lead, and he's got Robbie Bryant working against Dante Marsh that time.
Now, the Calgary Stampeders have been in a bit of a slump with regards to the interceptions. 8 interceptions in July and August. Got off to a great start to the season there. They're just 3 in September and 1 in October by Brown. There's a second on the last day of October by Milton Collins.
Only the Toronto Argonauts with fewer interceptions on the year.
See if Henry Burris can put some points on the board and capitalize on that turnover. The Calgary Stampeders have been good at that.
Great fake to Reynolds, a little toss to Lewis, and Nick Lewis dropped at the 50, close to a first down, and are they saying incomplete now? No catch. And it'll be 2nd and 10.
Ryan Phillips closed quickly. That's Nick Lewis right there. He goes out and then cuts right back into the inside. Having Glatt on man-to-man coverage on Rob Cote, and there's the quick close by Ryan Phillips, knocks it out of there. Maybe their best cover man in the secondary for the Lions is number 21.
So 2nd and 10, and another quick jump.
That's what I'm sure Wally Buono will talk about at halftime with these Lions, is that they've got to clean up some of these mental mistakes before the snap of the ball.
Excuse me, Glenn, at least 4 times. Foley twice, Johnson twice.
Offside. BC number 95. 5-yard penalty. Repeat, 2nd down.
Okay, Lions fans, let's bring the notes again. Thank you very much. Here we come, BC.
Sometimes the officials will let the defender jump into the neutral zone and jump back out as long as the ball hasn't been snapped, but Foley was in the backfield.
2nd and 5. Pressure. And Burris just throws that away, feeling the heat as Ricky Foley that time turned it up.
Yeah, and this time stays on side, is patient, and this time Ricky Foley in that stand-up rather than down in the stands. He comes clean, unblocked off the edge. It looked like that was designed to be a hot play to get the ball out of the hands of Burris quickly, and he didn't get the receivers to run the right routes, and well, the head coach understands the mistakes that were made.
Looked like Rob Lazio was the target of the coach's wrath. Bumpus breaks a tackle. Look out! Michael Bumpus, and Dwayne Carpenter saves a huge return as he closed quickly and cut him off with the pass, but Bumpus has 30 on the return after a 50-yard punt
There's still time for Printers, but let's take one more look at that last play. Rob Lazio is the center right in the middle here. We'll just follow him to see if there's some sort of error there. It looked like maybe he snapped it on the wrong count, because you could see the right side of the offensive line still down in their three-point stance, where the left side has moved on Rob Lazio. So timing way off on the play. Not everybody was ready, and that's why the Lions were in the backfield so quickly.
52 seconds to go as Printers goes back to work. Straight arm Jim Davis and gets the ball complete to Bumpus. And Michael Bumpus has a catch at the 45. Short gain there of about 4.
Michael Bumpus was asked about the play of Casey Printers in game 1 and his scrambling ability and those scrambling rules for receivers. He said, oh no, I knew that coming in, because Geroy Simon told me as soon as Printers arrived, you better learn the scramble rules.
Lions way offside again. And now they'll call a timeout to avoid the penalty, and not sure why that play wasn't whistled down a little quicker.
Well, Geroy Simon just gave Dean Valley an earful, and that play was designed, and Printers looked like he audibled to get that football quickly. All the receivers were timing up their
Offside.
waggle.
BC number 81, 5-yard penalty. Repeat, second down.
So the play was stopped before Printers could call the timeout.
You could see the play, and the receivers all moving the line of scrimmage. They're timing up their routes. And Geroy Simon looking at Dean Valley saying, look, you got to keep...
Is that first sound?
Yeah, you've got to snap the ball on the right count. Valley just either didn't hear it or didn't know what the count was.
And now 2nd and 11. Gun downfield, jump ball, great catch. Emmanuel Arsenault with an important catch here with under a half minute to go. It extends the Lions' drive and gets them now close to field goal range.
Well, Emmanuel Arsenault is a guy that, you know, is maybe overshadowed a little bit because of the play of Martel Mallet as a rookie in the running back position. Emmanuel Arsenault, also a rookie. He could be a nominee.
Playing with a broken bone in his left hand, but made a great catch. And now Simon open to the 30. 15 seconds left. They're in field goal range and should have time for a shot at the end zone.
And this is what Casey Printers talked to me during the work week about, and that's to try and learn from the mistakes of last game and make good decisions in key situations. This is one of those situations right here to not force it. 3 points is pretty good.
Here comes the pressure. And he throws that away. Well, O'Neal Wilson was in the area, but he didn't want to make that mistake he made last week.
And that's what I think he's done, and that's what he said to me. He said, you know, I want to make sure I continue to improve from the neck up and just to make good decisions. And that was a good decision. He was on the roll, saw O'Neal Wilson, and gave him a little bit of a chance, but if he doesn't catch it, it's out of bounds.
And don't take the sack there. And
exactly.
McCallum could come on, and he's made from 43 and 26, and now will attempt a 38-yarder. For a Lion lead. And McCallum brings it in. So that great catch by Emmanuel Arsenault, then one to Simon. The Wally-Quano's team is 3 seconds away from a halftime lead.
But have a lot to clean up at halftime, and they're going to have to discuss things with Dean Valley. I mean, this is a little bit expected, and this is what happens when a veteran of 142 straight starts and Angus Reid is knocked out of your lineup. Rob Lazio missed some games for the Calgary Stampeders as well. Tim O'Neill had to replace him, did a real good job replacing him on the other side, so John Hufnagel understands that, but Dean Valley has to get that snap count. He has to settle in. Not bad as far as protections go so far, and he's got the ball to the quarterback, which is his first priority. But a couple of procedure calls can be just because of that communication issue on the offensive line.
Dan Durazio, the offensive line coach, is over there right now, and Coach Buono may have a few words for the front four as well.
Yeah, defensively.
Oh, look out, one of the Chapman got it, and a big collision there as Tim O'Neill has his first kick return in the CFL. Pretty good way to end an interesting first half here at BC Place, a 1-point Lion lead.
Happy Halloween, everybody. Welcome back to our CFL on TSN studios, where it's a 1-point ball game. We figured this was going to be a good one, and so far it is. BC and Calgary, 16-15. The Lions retake the lead. Dave, Jock, Matt, and Chris, and of course the skeleton guy who's hanging and swinging over there by the pumpkins. So BC jumps out to a 10-0 lead. This is the team trying to clinch a playoff spot. They let that lead get away, but come back. Schultze, we talked about Dean Valley from North Van, right? So, 15, 20-minute drive from BC Place Stadium. His heart must be racing right now.
It is racing because everything Dean Valley does, I mean, the entire offense, those slot backs, they time those plays, those pass plays so precisely based on all the number of steps they have. So his shotgun snaps, they got to be perfect.
Okay, so Casey Printers coming into his second start. What have you seen, big boy?
Well, the first quarter, I thought he was fantastic. He regressed a little bit in the middle part of the half and then kind of picked it up later on. But the thing that I like is he's looking downfield for opportunities. Watch here as he rolls to the right. He has the check down right there, and that last second right there, notice his head, he sees the open receiver. I like that because he's looking at the entire field before he goes for the easiest type of pass. And this one right here turns the back to the line of scrimmage. That's a tough technique to whip around, to move up in the pocket and complete the pass. So overall, I still think it's been a successful first half for Casey Printers. They blitzed him a few times. He scrambled a few times. I like it. It's a progression, not a regression.
Yeah, I'm going to talk about Casey Printers, too, because I'm just blown away by how comfortable he looks after basically spending the first part of the season at home on the couch. And it's not just physically what he's doing, but he seems to understand the offense. He understands what the offense is designed to do, and there's a couple of signs of that, and here's one of them. I'm going to show you what some teams, Calgary included, use. It's called a double clutch. Watch how he's going to go on a 2 count, and what this tells him about Shannon James here is going to sneak down here and come on the blitz. So you're going to see Printers here. He's going to go on 2. And now he sees the brush. He points him out. He says, AJ, hey, Harris, do you see that guy coming? Harris picks him up. He has to get rid of the ball quickly, and he does. That's a beautiful thing. Understands what he's trying to do offensively. Here's a part of the problem when you don't know the offense. On play action, you know he wants to go down the seam. But when you have your back turned, you have to locate the safety first before you come to the seam. Watch how Casey Printers, who just hasn't had enough playing time in this offense, does not understand that on this particular play, with play action, with your back turned to this line of scrimmage, you have got to find the safety first before you come to your seam pattern. I know that's elementary for you, Maddie, but Casey Printers, when he hasn't played a whole lot, particularly in this offense, it's going to take a little time.
Yeah, and you're going to have good and bad with him, and he's a big playmaker, and he seems to be settling down and then finding who he was once, in 04, and he's got that now. On the other side of the football, I really like the way that the Calgary Stampeders incorporate people like Demetrius Summers, Rob Cote into their offense. In particular, Rob Cote, a Cochrane product right outside of Calgary, played his ball at BC Football Conference, never went to college. In fact, he's getting his degree right now at University of Calgary, and this kid is incorporating the offense at the most inopportune times for defenses, and they really kind of forget about him. And the Cote's got the ability and the wherewithal to drag one football defender with him. And then here, Nick Lewis, I got to talk about my boy Nick. Hey, first touchdown, game 17 of the year, and then listen to what he's got to say on the sideline.
For my first touchdown, guys present me the ball and give me a cake.
He wants a ball. He wants cake. Why not give him some creatine cornbread? Throw that in there. It looks like he's been on that, doesn't it? What is he, about 235
looks
now?
Like he's eating a lot of cake.
Looks like he's 240.
Hey, he had 10 touchdowns last year. That was his first touchdown since almost exactly a year ago, November 1st, against the BC Lions. But they trail by 1. Good ball game tonight in Vancouver.
The stakes are high here at BC Place on Halloween night, and we're expecting a thriller. And he goes deep and wide open as Arsenault. A.J. Harris, touchdown. And Burris into the end zone, touchdown. And it is the first of the year for Nick Lewis, and he doesn't know what to do.
Coach Casey Printer looked like he was going to have his way in the first 2 drives, but then your defense really made some adjustments. Talk about how you were able to contain him.
Well, we're trying to contain him. I mean, he's a great athlete. The more time he has, the more dangerous he is. So we put some pressure on, try to stay in our pass rush lanes, and we've been able to get to him a little bit.
Henry, and your offense got comfortable when you started using Joffrey Reynolds more. Can we expect to see more of him in this half?
Well, we'd like to get our running game more involved. BC's playing tough defense against the run. We just have to move the football, stay on the field.
Thanks, Coach.
Joffrey Reynolds, 8 carries, 26 yards in the first half.
Leading the league coming into this game, and he's in a neck-and-neck race with Fred Reed of the Winnipeg Blue Bombers, who this week in the newspaper guaranteed he would win the rushing title. Joffrey Reynolds heard about that. He sort of chuckled and said, I just looking for a win against the BC Lions first and foremost. But
Fred's way ahead of Joffrey in quotes, that's for sure. 38 yards, the difference coming into the game between the top 2 running backs in the league. DeAngelis boots it downfield, and here we go, second half. And Darren Toney had a little trouble with the football.
slow start for Henry Burris in that first half. Casey Printers got off to the great start. His first 2 series, hit a couple of big deep balls, so the numbers after a half of football, good completion percentage for Printers. He's on pace for another 300-yard plus game, and Burris caught up in the second quarter.
And both guys can take off with the ball, so the rushing yards surprisingly low.
Casey Printers, so far when he has run the ball or got outside, he's been running to look to throw it.
Here comes that heat. Got it away quickly and incomplete. It falls short of the target, Jamal Lee.
Now even on first down, Calgary going with blitz. That time it was the middle linebacker, Tim Johnson, that came on the blitz and caused the problems for Printers.
Well, he did say he was still adapting to game speed, and Chris Jones is trying to make it as fast a game as possible.
If you blitz, you do leave your defensive backs in one-on-ones.
3-man line.
2nd and 10. Keon Raymond blitzing. That pass complete over the middle. And G-Roy Simon has a first down for the Lions with his 4th catch of the game.
A little bit of movement there from the defensive line again and the linebacking core, and this time Printers will just retreat as he sees the pressure coming up the middle. Be able to complete that ball over the middle to G-Roy Simon.
Simon, who's caught passes from 4 different Lion quarterbacks this year. Printers trying to become the 4th different Lion quarterback to win this year. And looking deep, Bumpus in a duel there with Brandon Browner, and then looks at the official and says, is he allowed to get his hands all over me like that?
Well, you know that Brandon Browner has a bit of a reputation for this. He likes to do the hand fighting down the field in his bump and run coverage that we're all familiar seeing, and a little push and a little shove, and the official is going to let that go because Michael Bumpus was pushing back as well. Casey Printers would like a flag. I like when the officials let the players decide the outcome. Little push from Bumpus, little push back from Brandon Browner. Equals out.
2nd and 10. And that ball dropped. Bumpus drops that one. Milton Collins was there defensively, but that should have been a first down for BC.
And you know, that's an example, I believe, of an athlete who didn't let the last play go. You know, when he goes down the sideline with Brandon Browner, and he's complaining that he should have got a penalty flag thrown, and maybe the focus isn't quite there on the very next play. And that time, Michael Bumpus just dropped a pass that he should have caught.
Well, heat from Dwayne Carpenter, but McCallum gets away a good kick. Marcus Howell brought down by Jason Araki with another special teams tackle. And he's up to 35 on the season. Next kid with another special teams tackle with more. Here's Farhan Lalji.
Yeah, and the guy's playing hurt right now. Jason Araki is. When he's not in on special teams, he's off on the sideline, typically riding the bike. He missed last week with a pulled quadricep muscle, but he really wants that record, and the Lions really need him on their special teams unit. He actually believes he's got 3 so far in this game. He shook his head when I told him he was only being credited for 2. He's 2 away from that record now, and he's got 1 more game to get it.
His dad, a former top Canadian in this league. There's a catch by Romney Bryant. Dante Marsh holds on.
Wade Miller has the record at 37 special teams tackles in 1999, and Jason Araki just has a nose for the football. Not surprising, really, when you consider that the McMaster product in high school was a rugby player, and they don't really build them any tougher than the rugby players in the game of rugby, and he just has a nose for the ball. Unbelievable run for him, and he's playing hurt.
First down, Joffrey Reynolds with a little hurdle up to the 49-yard line, and 9 for Reynolds. And here's the race for the record for Jason Araki.
And maybe when they check the film back, he might have 1 more, but I think he's got legitimately 2 tonight. 2 away with a game to go, well, a game and a half to go. Most importantly, BC Lions lock up a playoff spot if they can. They need to have him for that run. Special teams as important as offense and defense, especially in playoff time.
Without him, they gave up a couple of long returns last week in Saskatchewan by Jason Armstead. A plunge by Burris for a first down across the 50-yard line.
John Hufnagel talked about Joffrey Reynolds and his involvement and how important it is. And you know, Reynolds is not just one-dimensional either when it comes to just running the football. He's had in the last couple of weeks 5 catches for close to 100 yards as well. So they can start to dump the ball to him out in the flats, just over the middle, and will probably be an outstanding player candidate under the Calgary Stampeders organization.
First and 10. That pass incomplete. Delivered low to Nick Lewis. You know, and Henry Burris is putting together a very good year as well, over 4,000 yards passing, but he did go through that 4-game slump, and during that 4-game slump, the Calgary Stampeders split those games, so it wasn't that bad. That shows that they are a good football team, and during that slump, Reynolds was on the money. I mean, he was basically the one constant in that offense that they could rely on. Over 1,300 yards, 13 touchdowns. Second and 10. Lions look like they're putting back their ears. Now they drop off, except for Corey Banks, who gets home and drops Burris back at the 34-yard line. Banks with his 5th sack of the year.
Well, the BC Lions, when they break the huddle here, they've got all kinds of movement, all very difficult, even for a veteran offensive line and a veteran center in Rob Lazio. Look at the movement from the defenders. Anton McKenzie shows that he drops. And there's Anton McKenzie. Then over here, you got Tad Crawford. He shows, and then he drops back out. And then Anton McKenzie does come, and then to the left, boy, there comes Corey Banks, and he does get home.
Loss of 21. Here's Michael Bumpus. Brought down at the 34-yard line. Lion football when we come back. Our sack tally is brought to you by Purolator, where business is going. And each team with a sack tonight.
You know, heading into the 2009 season, most people were thinking the Lions would really drop in this race due to the fact that they lost Cameron Wake to the Miami Dolphins, and then lo and behold, right back on top in first place with Ricky Foley with 11.
Tight end right.
We have a few more sacks before this night's out. The way the two defenses have played, A.J. Harris tries the left side, and there's not much there. Miguel Robide with the stop.
Now, the one thing about when you have a defense that is blitzing on first down or blitzing a lot on both downs is that it really cancels the run. I mean, when you blitz on first down, the running down, you're taking all the gaps up by linebackers in the line of scrimmage. Now, the way you can beat that, and Jacques Chapdelaine, who calls the plays for the Lions with Dan Durazio, is screen and draw them.
Prentice gets it away quickly, and Simon drops that one. With John Eubanks in his back pocket.
Again, a forced throw because of the pressure. Good game plan for the Calgary defense to continue to come after it. And more so screens, Chris, than draws. I mean, even in a draw play can be tough when you're blitzing all your linebackers and you're coming from the secondary as well. You can see A.J. Harris is just in there trying to pick up a block, and he's been struggling at that here tonight. Might as well release him out of the backfield, maybe try and screen draw. That's one way to beat it.
I believe Harris an upgrade in pass protection over Martel Mallet. There's Dan McCullough unable to bring down Marcus Howell, and a penalty flag for no yards, the 5-yard variety. It's here, they're buying into that tonight. Halloween night at BC Place Stadium. Entertaining in the crowd and a good football game to boot. Stamps football at their 42-yard line, a pump, and wide open is Compton, and Bruce misses him.
Defensive coordinator Mike Benavides pretty excited about the play of Tad Crawford to get over there. It was an open Jermaine Copeland on the double move here. There's Copeland right here, and as he comes outside there, watch how he's just going to go down the field and right down the sideline. A pump fake on the screen draws 3 defenders up. There comes Crawford to help out from the center field position, and Mike Benavides was hopping up and down, excited about his safety getting over there.
Looked like Dante Marsh bit on the first move, and
that's a concern for the coordinator, yes.
Burris missed an open opportunity, 2nd and 10. Rolling and running out of time, got away from Aaron Hunt, and now is taken down. Anton McKenzie drops Henry Burris at the 45, short of a first down, just a couple on the scramble by Burris.
Yeah, Burris buying some time, moving around, and if Anton McKenzie doesn't trip him up here, he may pick up bigger yards than this, certainly a first down. But Burris has that same sort of Casey Printers ability to be able to escape. Aaron Hunt looks like he has him there, cuts up underneath. Now, if Anton McKenzie doesn't get him, it's one-on-one with Juwan Armour, and there's a lot of field on either side.
So a defensive stalemate here so far in the third quarter.
Both teams looking for the deep ball. I think to go back to their regular offenses, might be able to move the sticks a little bit.
Bumpus at his 20, and he finds a little room up across the 30 to the 34-yard line. We talked about the changes on the offensive line. Justin Sorensen, the Parksville product, getting his first CFL start, about a year or so behind a couple of others from that great draft class of 2008.
Was it ever? 2008, Dylan Barker, who had his first interception for the Ticats, starting at free safety earlier this afternoon. Demetrius Sumpas, Jesse Newman, who's working into the lineup and has been the starter at guard. I mean, that was some kind of draft in first round. All those players contributing. Brendan Labatt, Shea Emery in Montreal, Keith Sholigan.
And those 2 great guards in Calgary, the youngsters Sumpas and Newman. And Simon, a short yardage catch with Eubanks or Keon Raymond all over him.
It really does emphasize, though, Chris, the importance of the Canadian college draft and how you can really build the future of your team. Now, Sorensen took a year, a while to get into the lineup and to see how he develops. Real excited about his upside. A big body out of South Carolina at 6'7", 316. Played pretty well so far here tonight.
Guy with 31 starts in U.S. major college action. 2nd and almost 10. Underneath it goes, and Bumpus a catch well short of the first down as Dwayne Carpenter and Brandon Browner had him surrounded.
Seems like both these offenses getting a little bit frustrated with having to these 2-and-outs one after another. Both running backs seem to have disappeared. Not much A.J. Harris, not much Joffrey Reynolds. And the success on first down, so important.
Puts a little more emphasis on the teams now as it becomes a bit of a kicking game here in this third quarter. Marcus Howell from his 23. Reverses field, puts his head down, and Anton McKenzie was there. Calgary football when we come back to Vancouver.
Jason Araki on the special teams, continuing to labor as he tries to cover these kicks and get that record. Courageous effort from number 45, and you could see him noticeably limping there. And then he goes straight to the stationary bike, as Farhan mentioned, try and keep that quadricep loose.
Approaching the 10-minute mark of the third quarter, the Stampeders still looking for their initial first down of the second half, and the Lions only have one second half first down. Fake to Reynolds, and that pass incomplete, intended for Nick Lewis.
You see how, again, the Calgary Stampeders offensively are going to try and go over the middle a little bit and see if they can pull Tad Crawford here, who's right there. They're going to go to Nick Lewis coming across and see if they can get Tad Crawford to start to sneak up in his first start of the 2009 season. Now, he's deep and safe there because that's one way you could go after the safety. Try and layer them. One over the middle, another one a little deeper, and then get one in behind him.
Second and 10. Four-man rush, and that pass incomplete, sailed past Copeland. It was picked up by Anton McKenzie.
Let's show you what the Calgary Stampeders have tried a little bit tonight and can do more of. There's no line of scrimmage here. We're just showing defensive backs against receivers. There's Tad Crawford in the middle, and this is how you can layer it. Nick Lewis underneath, Copeland over the top. A guy like R.J. Franklin could be the deeper one. Now, what they want to try and do is draw Tad Crawford to that short one and throw it behind him. Crawford so far has been smart and stayed back on the deep post so far. But that's what Henry Burris is trying to get the young Tad Crawford to do, is to come up on that shorter one to get the big play in behind him.
Burke Dales launches it. And Bumpus from his 30's got a return. Up to the 45-yard line, Justin Phillips, the Laurier product, brings him down there.
Third quarter so far, the defensives of teams have really bowed their neck. I mean, they're stepping up and making plays on defense now. You see both Henry Burris and Casey Printer struggling in this quarter to get first downs, to move the chains. Benavides and Chris Jones going head-to-head.
So who gets a breakthrough here in the second half? Nice fake, and this will loosen it up. Casey Printer's on the run. Oh, and he took a hit from Brandon Browder. That ball popped loose. And Printers gets up, jawing.
He says it didn't hurt him. Brandon Browder will definitely go after the quarterback if he's out there in the open field. This is that play action fake here to A.J. Harris through the middle. And then the outside, and the guy who got pulled right in was Charleston Hughes in a big way on Harris. Now, Printers takes the hit. Browder's got to be careful he doesn't get a hit to the head there as he goes after Printers high.
"26-yard romp for Printers, and they're inside the Stampeder 40. Sets up time, Simon catch, pushed out, first down Lions. G-Roy Simon against Keon Raymond.
2004, Casey Printers ran the ball 82 times for 469 yards, part of his MOP season. We haven't seen a lot of it tonight, and we didn't see a whole lot of it last week. Just 6 for 17 yards rushing in Mosaic Stadium because he's been running to throw the ball. But that run has really opened some things up on this drive for him.
75th catch of the year for G-Roy Simon. 6 for 75 on the night. And the Lions offense is moving. And that pass out of the reach of A.J. Harris. Or maybe within the reach and just a whiff by the running back.
A bit of a fastball. You know, a receiver catches that, a little tougher for running backs. Even the running backs with good hands take a little off that throw, but Casey Printers put some heat on that one.
A.J. Harris, a good receiver who led the Lions in receiving yards a few weeks back in Winnipeg. So 2.5 to go, third quarter. And 2nd and 10 from the Calgary 23. Here
they come.
Yes, again. Got it away quick, but underneath. There's Brandon Browner to make a good tackle on O'Neal Wilson, and just a 4-yard gain. And now McCallum comes on to attempt the first points of the second half.
Well, let's just count it up and see how many are coming on the blitz. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There's another one over here, 6. And I believe Shannon James also came to make it 7-man blitz. Tim Johnson in the middle. Wes Lysek from the safety position. Only 5 up front to block. It's easy to do that math.
12 of 14 for Paul McCallum. And 3 for 3 tonight as he tries to extend the lead, and now it's a 4-point Lion advantage with exactly 2 minutes to go in the third quarter. Well, tomorrow the chase for the Sprint Cup continues on TSN2 as the track heats up at the Talladega for the AMP Energy 500. Live coverage begins on TSN2 at noon Eastern, 9 a.m. Pacific. And don't forget to fall back tonight.
All right.
One of my favorite nights of the year.
Some more sleep, is that right?
One more.
That's excellent. Yeah, this is a big game. A big, big game. And when you take a look at what's on the line, Calgary Stampeders, the remaining games, BC and Saskatchewan are looking to wrap up home field, and that's what the BC Lions really have their sights set on.
You know, what's interesting is that game next week, Calgary and Saskatchewan, at Mosaic will decide first, but it might not guarantee second.
That's right. Right, that's why the BC Lions still in the hunt. The Edmonton Eskimos looking to either still try and climb into the third place spot or possibly cross over, which becomes difficult. And I said it was easy to do math when there's 7 rushers and 5 blockers. Yep. Not easy to do math when you're trying to figure out how this can all settle out in Week 18.
If BC loses tonight and Winnipeg can get one more win, I don't think there can be a crossover.
Right.
Unless there's ties, or can we get another tie before this is over? Eubanks had a little trouble with the bouncing football, and now tries to get outside, and Dante Marsh is there to make sure he doesn't turn the corner. Actually, if Calgary and Saskatchewan tied next week and BC won tonight, the Lions still do have a slim chance at first in the West, but I don't know if anybody's counting on another tie this year.
BC Lions will host the Edmonton Eskimos the last game of the regular season in that Calgary-Saskatchewan game. How big will that be? Of course, Winnipeg plays Montreal tomorrow. And then Winnipeg and Hamilton will finish the season going at it.
And the schedule maker gets a raise. There's Eric Neely in at quarterback. A little bit of a surprise here.
Well, and it looks like it's just sort of a play package to get Barrick Neely, the running quarterback, in there and run really what looks like sort of the old-fashioned option play. Get his running back going across the formation and have him with the option to either give it to him and take off and run.
Neely's best game was here when he finished up the 48-10 route. He was 6 for 10 for a couple of touchdown passes in that game. Drew Tate since has become the number 2 man. But now Burris back in, 2nd and 6. And he drops it off. Reynolds out of the backfield, and Juwan Armour there. But it is a first down for Calgary at the Stamp 40. First catch for Joffrey Reynolds.
First catch, and this is what I talked about a couple of series ago, where Joffrey Reynolds becomes important as the check down guy. And if the coverage is pretty good, which it has been for the BC Lions down the field, he can make it look like he's going to block someone, and especially in second and short, second and medium, pick up easy first downs.
1st and 10. Reynolds cuts it back and has 3 yards. Juwan Armour, Anton McKenzie there again. Stampeders number 1 in first down production on the season, in large part because of number 21. They average 7.6 yards on first down.
And in his 2 games, 8.3 yards a carry for him. Now that's dropped a little bit after 3 quarters here tonight.
Final play, third quarter. 2nd and 7. Lions drop off. That pass is complete across the middle. He threads the needle and has a first down to Jermaine Copeland at the BC 50. A 17-yard gain on the final play of the third quarter. It's a 4-point BC lead. Third quarter stats brought to you by Tim Hortons. Always fresh, always.
Oh, pretty close. I mean, in that third quarter, the defense has really stood up and made a statement. Look for the offenses to bounce back in the fourth, but close game like we expected.
Lions have lost 6 straight to Calgary, and although they've got the lead, they can't feel safe yet. Is there a psychological roadblock here?
Yeah, and the BC Lions have to fight through it. They have to try and put that behind them, especially when something bad like that 17 against the Lions, that 17-yard catch to move the chains. They've got to block that out of their minds and move forward.
And on a Halloween night, I think just about anything can happen. So,
what do you think of my house?
Blew us up real good. If I don't say anything, do you think they'll worry? Here's Burris scrambling with Brent Johnson and Aaron Hunt in pursuit. And Juwan Armour there to try and bring him down. We've got an injured Lion. Jeremy Gibbs a little slow to get up.
Boy, Juwan Armour was on his horse to get over there. Burris had broken outside, broken containment. And when he took off to the outside here, it's really a foot race between number 11 and number 1. Jeremy Gibbs cuts inside. He loses contain. And then here comes a foot race. A little surprised that the refs are being real lenient on those hits on the quarterback when they're on the ground.
2nd and 4. And that over the middle is incomplete. Jermaine Copeland wants a flag, and none are tossed.
I mentioned early on that the BC Lions defensively have been a lot better against the run over the last few weeks, and they've played well in the first 3 quarters against Joffrey Reynolds on the run, and that really has talked Calgary out of a play that's been their bread and butter, which is that zone read play with Joffrey Reynolds, where they just put it in his stomach, and Henry Burris will ride it and then make the decision to pull it or give it to him.
John Hufnagel opting not to try a long field goal of about 50 yards for Sandro DeAngelis. Instead, they'll look to pin the Lions in their own zone. Bert Dales aims for the corner, but Brian Gray's ball let him bounce past him, and it turns out to be a good boot at the 7-yard line for Bert Dales. 4:30 Pacific.
Drew Brees taking another big step in his growth and development. New Orleans not lost yet, and it's too early to talk about the 72 Dolphins. You got to wait till about win 10 or something.
BC Printers from his own end zone, and now he'll take off and get down underneath Tim Johnson and give them a little breathing room up around the. Well, they're going to mark it at the 14, so they don't give him the full slide.
It opens up in the middle for him. Casey Printers will just take off. He had a couple of receivers down the field, but decided and has over the third quarter a little bit and now into this fourth to go ahead and run. And again, Tim Johnson trips over him there, but the defenders have to be careful. When the quarterback goes down, is on the ground, whether it be Henry Burris or Printers, coming over the top and making contact.
Printers now has rushed for 38 on the game, 2nd and 4. And down he goes, dropped by Jim Davis. And Davis with his 6th sack of the year.
Jim Davis was the guy who came with some early pressure in that first quarter And this time he usually lines up in the middle and would be over Dean Valley or over the guards. This time he moves out to the tackle, and Darren Hirschbank hasn't seen him much. Jim Davis surprises him. Tate George from the backside giving him some help, and now the Lions will probably have to give up 2 here.
Second sack of the game for Calgary, and Paul McCallum is going to step out the back of the end zone. So now it's a 2-point game as Wally Buono concedes 2. 2-point safety, and now a kickoff from the 25. What kind of field position do the Stamps get after this? Eubanks over the 40. Good cover, though, led by Jamal Lee, and not as good as Calgary might have hoped for.
Well, it should obviously be a difference of the change of possession there and the 5-point swing. There has been a lot less safeties given up this year because of the rule change. Because it can be a 5-point swing or worse, depending on the field position.
Jermaine Copeland, 1 catch, 9 yards last week, and only 1 in this game. Here's Reynolds to the edge, and Joffrey Reynolds up to the 48-yard line, has 5. So Jermaine Copeland's gone quiet of late. Does have 3 touchdowns this year against BC, and a dozen on the year, but as you mentioned, none in the last 4.
Yeah, that was his last touchdown, was against the Lions on September 25th. So it's been 4 games, but he's got to share the wealth a little bit. He got Nick Lewis his first.
5th in the league in receiving coming into tonight's game. And it might be time to call one of those super slots on 2nd and 5.5. Looks in for Robbie Bryant. He's got him, broke a tackle, and now a foot race, and Bryant doesn't lose many. Darren Toney drops him, and they'll rule him out at the 13-yard line. The ball came loose after Bryant was down, and Robbie Bryant's got another 40-plus gain, 49 this time.
And this is a lot of what he did last week. A lot of his plays weren't just because he was deep and behind the coverage and when he racked up the 211 yards. He broke a lot of tackles against the Edmonton Eskimos, made a lot of people miss in the open field, and then accelerates for big yardage. And he had slipped on the white stripe.
Got a challenge flag from the Lions here.
They felt that the ball might have been punched out and was a fumble, but did Robbie Bryant step out before the ball was punched out?
And the ball is almost simultaneously is the ball out as he steps out.
Well, yeah, I mean, but was the ball loose just before he stepped out is the question. Not out there.
Challenging the ruling on the play that the player was out of bounds.
That ball is out there. That ball is out there.
Ball's out there, and his foot touched right after that. He had lost control just before he touched the white stripe.
And the last time these two teams met, there was a controversial challenge on a Nick Lewis catch inside the 10 that went Calgary's way, and it led to a 27-18 win. Interesting to know how this challenge will go. Is this a big turnover for the Lions, or does the Robbie Bryant play a 49-yard stand?
And I believe Tad Crawford recovered the fumble.
Yes. Lions do not have a takeaway in this game. Good challenge. Let's find out if it's a successful one.
It is a good challenge, because when we looked at it live, it looked like Robbie Bryant's heel was definitely out of bounds. But that's what replay is for. That's what it's all about. We'll take a look and see
Still
how that's
in bounds.
ruled. Yeah, that's
there.
in bounds.
And now the ball's loose.
Yeah, the ball is loose. He's lost control of it there, and he's not put his foot down on the white stripe.
Great hustle by Darren Toney,
who had some challenges last week against Saskatchewan. Darren Toney found out about Rob Bagg and what kind of season he's having.
After review, the ball was fumbled prior to the player going out of bounds. First down, BC on the 9-yard line.
That's a huge challenge and turnover for the BC Lions defense.
Heads-up play by Darren Toney, because it's easy on plays like that to kind of drop your head and say, well, I missed the tackle, it's open field, and guys made a big play, just try and get him out of bounds. And Darren Toney kept fighting to knock it out, and an excellent challenge, obviously, for Wally Buono. He'd become the winningest coach of all time, making a few good decisions along the way. That's a good one for him to make that challenge, because it looked live that he was out of bounds.
So the Lions are backed up inside their 10, but they preserve the 2-point lead. Back to work goes Casey Printers and A.J. Harris. And Harris across the 15.
235 wins for the all-time winningest coach in Canadian Football League history. And look at how, I say, inexperienced the rest of the head coaches are in the Canadian Football League. Mark Trestman with 24, John Hufnagel 22, but 6 against, including the playoffs, against Wally Buono.
Did some quick math. Was that 124 wins for the other coaches combined? 94. That's how good my math is. Printers second down over the middle. He's got G-Roy Simon, and he gets it outside, and then runs out of room for Brandon Brano. Push him into the signage, but that gives them some room to operate now up around the 30-yard line.
One thing you understand quickly is that Casey Printers is locking in to G-Roy Simon. I mean, this is his good friend from the 2004, and Simon knows it, and Simon also knows that all he has to do in this case for Casey Printers, because it's a zone defense, is find the hole in that zone, and he does.
90 yards for Simon in the game. He's over 1,200 on the year. 15 on that pickup, and now Printers looks deep, looking for Simon, and it falls about a step short with John Eubanks in the trail position.
This is the answer for the BC Lions against the pressure, the blitz from the Calgary Stampeders. They're going to just try and sling it deep, knowing that G-Roy Simon is man-to-man on John Eubanks here. Casey Printers trying to take advantage. The blitz coming from safety Wes Lysak, who will show up to this part of your screen here. He's going to come off the edge. You're also going to see Tim Johnson, 0, coming up. There's Lysak, 31. And the answer is to try and hit a deep and big play on it, and they just missed.
2-man line.
Second and 10 BC. Blitz again. Printers gets it away. Incomplete. Dwayne Carpenter, I think, might have got a hand on it. Intended again for 81. And can he lock in too much on one of the best receivers in CFL history?
Well, you definitely can. And Dwayne Carpenter took a peek before the snap of the ball, and number 7 is going to fly over there and get underneath this throw, because G-Roy Simon is open on his man, which is I believe it was John Eubanks on that end. No, it wasn't. It was Shannon James, as a matter of fact. But it was the free guy in Dwayne Carpenter that helped out.
Gallen boots it away. Marcus Howell will stumble. Trying to get outside. And he does turn the corner. Good return by Marcus Howell, the Winnipeg native, enhancing the field position for the Stamps. Tonight's game story brought to you by Molson Canadian. This is our beer.
Been interesting. Nick Lewis finally got that first touchdown on the board. Casey Printers had a good first quarter. Then it was Henry Burris in the second quarter, and the defenses in the third quarter. And Jason Araki, yeah.
Boys on Halloween night bring their game, their A game. 20-yard return for Marcus Howell, and now over the middle, and Nick Lewis has another catch. Man who scored his first touchdown of the year in the opening half. A big first down for the Stamps here to the BC 36.
What a pickup by Henry Burris to recognize that Corey Banks was bailing out of there. Corey Banks is lined up at the line of scrimmage, but watch how he bails out and gets deep here. When he gets deep like that, the automatic backside read is right to Nick Lewis, who throws it just in front of Corey Banks.
22 for Lewis. There's a pump. Burris on a roll now, and he's going to have to duck under and take off, and Bobby Glatt brings him down at the 41. And Burris took a shot, but somehow got under one would-be tackler and got a few extra yards.
Well, the play that they wanted was to go to Brett Ralph down the sideline on a double move on LeVar Glover. And Ralph runs this move. There's a pump fake from Burris right there, and then goes down. But you know who came over to help out was Tad Crawford. And Tad Crawford changed the mind of Henry Burris. He's just to the left of your screen there, but he was in position to help out.
2nd and 5, 4 receivers wide side. Reynolds, big hole, daylight. And he'll thunder to the 7, finally brought down by the other 21 on the field, Ryan Phillips. 23 for Joffrey Reynolds, his biggest run of the night.
See Anton McKenzie in one gap here, and then Juwan Armour, who's going to step up and try and fill this side. Well, guess where that opens up? That opens up right down Main Street. And Joffrey Reynolds just can't wait to get the football.
Now up to 67 yards on the game. Fred Reed, take note. 1st and goal. Reynolds again. Joffrey Reynolds down to the 1-yard line. And the safety, Tad Crawford, prevents the touchdown.
Didn't look like to me Aaron Hunt was really settled in his position, and that's right where Joffrey Reynolds takes the football. Hunt is right here, and he just kind of slid over just before there, and he wasn't quite settled, and then took a side on Tim O'Neill there, and then O'Neill was able to seal him.
O'Neill, who grew up in Victoria and has earned the starting job at left guard. 2nd and goal. And Burris looked in the end zone and now lunges in. Touchdown. Henry Burris has his 2nd of the night, his 10th of the year. And the 4th lead change of the game puts Calgary back in front.
Interesting play here for the Calgary Stampeders. They have some options. Burris is going to have Cote out of the backfield here, and the tight end on the play from the right side, I believe, is Randy Chevrier, who's going to come off. And guess who takes him in coverage? Brent Johnson. So Brent Johnson covers him up. Cote's covered out of the backfield, and then Burris just ad-libs.
So the offense stays on the field, up by 4 and looking for 2 more. 5 plays, 58-yard drive in just over 2 minutes, and a little communication breakdown.
They needed Nick Lewis in the formation, and Nick Lewis are going to have to burn the timeout.
Yep. There's George Cortez.
Got 7 seconds.
No, they want the timeout, and now it is taken.
The coaches can call the timeout. They don't have to get a play or 2.
Timeout, Calgary.
I know one thing, John Huffnagel would not be happy about the fact that Nick Lewis had come off after the touchdown because he wasn't in the formation with Rob Cote in there and Tim Johnson in there in that short yardage formation. So he had come to the bench. They score. He didn't realize they were going for 2. Was real late coming on, and they have to burn the timeout because of it.
And you can tell the frustration of the coach.
Because those are avoidable mistakes. That's why. I mean, those.
Will that come back to haunt them in the last couple minutes of this game? If they do and fall behind again. Right now they're in the lead and trying to make it a 6-point advantage. Going for 2. And an open man, it is 2. Joffrey Reynolds. 25-19, Stampeders in front.
Robbie Bryant's going to open it up for Joffrey Reynolds on the play because he goes deep, and he's a little banged up after it. Can't really move that right hand, but it's Robbie Bryant right here that's going to push everything deep so that Joffrey Reynolds can come out underneath and open up. Watch 83 go down into the corner, 21 right to the flat, and as he makes contact, Robbie Bryant looked like he hurt his shoulder or his right arm. Reynolds gets the 2-point convert. We'll have to see how Bryant is.
This is where Kenyon Rambo was injured early this year. on the horse collar tackle by Javi Glatt that ended his season with an ACL, and just when it looked like they found a very capable replacement, Robbie Bryant seems to be in some difficulty.
They're going to check that shoulder. Maybe it may have popped out. He made contact, I believe it was with Dante Marsh. Let's go back to the touchdown first off. Here's Rob Cote coming out. They wanted Randy Chevrier, who's a tight end. That was covered. And then Burris just makes it up as he goes along, dives into the end zone. Then they go to the two-point conversion. Robbie Bryant made contact with Dante Marsh. They're checking out that collarbone and shoulder area.
Pat Clayton works on him as DeAngelo sends it downfield. 6:15 to go. And the difference in unconverted touchdown is it's returned across the 35. Still not sure exactly what happened to Robbie Bryant. Let's take another look.
Well, there's a jam here. Here's Bryant here, and Dante Marsh is going to make contact in the end zone. And sometimes it's the ones that look so innocent that are the ones that cause the problem. It just looked like his shoulder got hit there a little bit and maybe dislocated or popped out. I'm speculating, but no question he's getting attention on the bench.
BC Printers now down by 6. What kind of reply does he have? He's in trouble and got it away. A.J. Harris in the area, so a good play by Printers to avoid the sack as Jim Davis has turned it up in the second half.
Yeah, he really has, and again, taking advantage of the changes up front. They move him around. He's usually an interior defensive lineman, but he's done some damage from defensive end as well.
Well, Davis has had a big night. I think on that last play it was Charleston Hughes. And it forces 2nd and 10. And somebody flinch on that offensive line. You could see the Stamps ready to blitz, and KC Printers walking backwards. So that young offensive line.
Procedure, BC number 55. 5-yard penalty, repeat 2nd down.
Well, Iguano knew there could be some issues with Justin Sorensen in his first start, Dean Valley as well, but that's the veteran Chirko Haji-Razuli.
Yeah.
This blitz is causing him to come off the rails a little bit.
Now 2nd and 15. 3-man front for Calgary. And way offside with Paris Jackson. And we're backing up 5 more.
Procedure, BC number 60. 5-yard penalty, repeat 2nd down.
Again, you wonder how much, Chris, this involves Dean Valley and snapping the ball on time. Jimenez on the outside and watch Valley at center. It looked like the receivers, Paris Jackson and Jason Jimenez, had 1 snap count. Dean Valley didn't get it back there.
Clearly it happened once in the first half, and now it's 2nd and 20.
Whoa.
Puck from Printers, who has to make something happen, and takes off and then hits the deck with Shannon James in his sights.
You see how that shotgun snap now, Dean Valley's starting to get a little rattled because he had an issue there with the snap count, and then on 1st down, and that snap was pretty hot and high on Printers, who has to try and gather that up. Watch this snap come back as he's taking a look. It comes up around and he just barely hangs on. That one goes over his head, and that's a big play for the Calgary Stampeders.
McCallum to Howell at his 35, had a good return on his last one. And there's a block from behind. Anton McKenzie had Howell lined up, and an illegal block is being called. And Rolly Lumbala slow to get up.
Yeah.
4:34 to go.
Yeah.
And in the second half, not much happening for the Lions.
Holding, Calgary number 42. 10-yard penalty on the run back, 1st down.
Is it too late to think about Buck Pierce?
No, I don't think it's too late. I think there's a couple of factors here, Chris. One is that how healthy is Buck Pierce? I know he took more reps in practice this week than last. They were more comfortable if they had to go to him this week than last. But I think in an ideal situation, you would, if you're Wally Buono, you would go with Printers start to finish if you can, and maybe next week would be the time that you could make changes.
They're still within a converted touchdown and taking the lead, but Calgary's got the ball. What can Burris do? He's in trouble here and brought down. Stephen Williams finishes off Henry Burris behind the line of scrimmage.
The other thing, Chris, is that anytime, I know a coach, anytime they want to make a change like that at quarterback, you know, they have to evaluate what has been the issue. Has it been the quarterback? Has it been his decisions? And I'm not so sure that it has been Casey Printer's fault. It's been some issues up front, and that Calgary blitz has just been overwhelming at times.
No, I'm with you. I just wonder if maybe a guy who's had a little more experience this season can cope with that Calgary blitz. Right now it's 2nd and 12, and the Lions drop off. Burris quarterback draw, and Anton McKenzie there to bring him down at the 31-yard line. So Lions are going to get the ball right back here.
You know, an interesting call, and the receivers in this play for Calgary really don't sell this. You know, and you go quarterback draw on 2nd and 12, you're trying to surprise the defense, so everybody has to be good actors. And I thought that time the Calgary Stampeder receiving corps came off the line a little bit slow. And because of that, it really didn't force the BC defenders to turn and run with them so they could all rally to make that tackle.
We should note that Robbie Bryant was back in the offensive set on those two plays for Calgary. Michael Bumpus, Ryan Bryce Mullen looking for a return here. Bryce Mullen from his 32. Flag dropped at the 45. Randy Chevrier after a 47-yard punt. The 3-minute warning given to the benches. It's Calgary by 6.
Couple small things for the BC Lions here. Jerome Dennis on the special teams. The Lions would have had field position at around their own 45-yard line if not for that push in the back from Dennis on John Cornish. Think about a couple of offsides in the first half, a couple legal procedures, 13 penalties starting to add up to small things. If Calgary prevails here, BC Lions will look back on some of those little things.
Lions 3rd in the league in penalties. Usually more disciplined than that. There's a catch for Arsenault, who had the big first half, and Floyd Anderson holds on as Arsenault tries to drag him for extra yards.
What does Mark Trestman say in Montreal? Everything matters.
Everything matters.
Everything matters. And you might just think, well, it's just a little 5-yard offside. It's just a little push in the back at the wrong time. But those things start to add up. Now, there's lots of football to be played here. 13 penalties is too many.
111 yards receiving for Emmanuel Arsenault tonight. 14 on that pickup. Here comes that blitz again. Printers gets it away, and he's got a completion at the 50. G. Roy Simon, another BC first down.
Well, there's a couple of things. A good throw here to get it out there to G. Roy Simon. But watch A.J. Harris come out of the backfield here. This will be an option for the Lions if Printers is reminded that he has that back. He's going to flare out of the backfield there and is wide open. Could run for about 40 yards if he gets that little flare pass on the blitz.
Last two completions put two receivers over 100, and now Harris out of the backfield, and Malik Jackson takes him down at the 54.
Little different scenario, but they are going back to A.J. Harris coming out of the backfield. Remember how early in the game Harris was blocking. Harris was stepping up and trying to help on the blitz. Now they have Harris releasing out of the backfield.
First grab of the night for E.J. Harris. 2nd and 6. Another blitz, an open man, Paris Jackson. And so 4 different receivers on this drive, and we're under 2 minutes to go. And Printers has the offense rolling.
Well, I love the cat and mouse game, the chess game that's going on between these coordinators, Dan Durazio, Jacques Chapdelaine. now making adjustments against the Calgary blitz to try and get it over the middle, get it to the running backs. That's where the area should be open.
Just the second catch for Jackson, and now deep, he's wide open! Paris Jackson, touchdown! He got on his horse, and the Lions are a convert away from the lead.
Over the middle, quick throws, get the ball out of the quarterback's hands to the running back, and then the third way to try and get away from the blitz is to roll away from it with your quarterback, and that's what Jacques Chapdelaine does here with KC Printers. What they do is they roll them away from pressure, get them out in the open, and as I mentioned earlier, when you send a lot of blitz, somewhere down the way you're going to get one-on-one coverage and someone's going to fall down or slip or make a mistake, and that's what happens here. Paris Jackson wide open.
8th touchdown of the year for Paris Jackson. 6 plays, 86 yards. You also thought they should stick with KC Printers. That was a pretty good call.
And Geroy Simon, as you mentioned earlier, Chris, how much KC Printers was locked in, and can you lock in too much to a receiver? Well, there's Geroy Simon here, and this is what he's going to do. He's going to do a curl, and watch how Paris Jackson runs deep here. Watch the defenders for the Calgary Stampeders. Printers is locked into Geroy Simon all game. Look at him jump, Geroy Simon. 2 of them on Simon, and right in behind all of that is Paris Jackson.
That's your chalkboard in reverse.
And basically, yeah, I mean, you're right that Printers was locking into Geroy Simon for 3 quarters. The Calgary Stampeders started to play that. Geroy Simon is double covered, 19, wide open in behind everybody.
And to add icing for Paris Jackson, he goes over 1,000 yards on the season with that 36-yard touchdown. All that matters right now for BC is that they have a 1-point lead, but Calgary's got 95 seconds to go. And you talked about everything matters. Does a timeout that Calgary had to burn on their 2-point convert become a factor here down the stretch?
Well, and what matters, first of all, is what happens on this special team, because the Calgary Stampeders have had some good returns against the Lions throughout the year.
Still lots of time. Demetrius Summers. And he gets to the 35. Hard to believe that he's missed a whole year, and how good he was on that drive that may be the difference in the football game.
Well, and he is pumped up and taking full advantage of his 3rd opportunity in the Canadian Football League, and now the Lions have put it on their defense, but this has been a position that Henry Burris has been in many times. Remember, this team has not beaten the Calgary Stampeders in 6 straight games. The last win for BC over Calgary, 2007.
This is why they pumped in noise all week at Calgary practice. And a completion there and a first down, a good start to Copeland for Henry Burris.
That's what I meant with regards to Henry Burris and his composure. 11 years in the CFL, 8 with the Calgary Stampeders. He's been in this position many, many times. The BC Lions can't get too soft here defensively.
5 lead changes tonight. Burris trying to choreograph the 6th. Fake to Reynolds over the middle. It's a completion to the 50. And there's Copeland again, and suddenly he's a big factor.
They need another 15 yards to make it a safe kick, a high percentage kick for Sandro DeAngelis. So the next 2-3 plays crucial.
Lots of time for the Stamps. In fact, they'll try and get in field goal range and take some time off the clock. Oh, fumble, and Burris has to eat the football. A little confusion there, and Henry Burris just got back on the ball, and that'll set up a big 2nd and long.
Confusion for both teams. The Lions had Aaron Hunt running to the sideline. They didn't have the right lineup, and it looked like the right hand of Joffrey Reynolds just hit the ball out of the hands of Henry Burris, who was trying to pull it out of there.
Tad Crawford coming on the safety blitz. And now it's 2nd and 13. First down, Jermaine Copeland has his third big catch of the drive.
Well, and this time Anton McKenzie is lined up way inside. Copeland is right here, and look at the soft spot with McKenzie this far inside and Darren Toney that deep. Automatic, quick, hot route for Jermaine Copeland, and that's two veterans hooking up and just making it up on the fly. And now they're in field goal range.
They are in DeAngelis range. And Reynolds trying to enhance it. Hold on. Play doesn't get off. And a timeout for the Lions, who seem to have some confusion on their defensive set.
Timeout, BC. They called the timeout prior to the snap.
And they had players running on and off the field. And it didn't have the right complement.
Sandro DeAngelis long on the season, 48 yards. This would be about there, 47. He has the highest percentage in the Canadian Football League coming in. So you'd think that Henry Burris would just try and get it to the middle of the field.
Got a couple plays to get it a little closer.
Yeah, a little closer, or you might want to kick it on second down.
This is number 21, isn't it? Left side. That'll enhance it. They might not need DeAngelis as he runs down to the 10-yard line. First down, Calgary. And the key guy for the Calgary Stampeders all season long has just come up with another huge play, a 30-yard romp.
Boy, has he ever, and blocked up real well at the point of attack right here by Ben Archibald, who's going to kick out Brent Johnson. And then on the inside, I believe it was Tim O'Neill who's going to seal Anton McKenzie. Joffrey Reynolds bounce outside because of it. Then it's just a safety tag Crawford, and now it's a chip shot. They can work to the middle and put DeAngelis on the field.
8th 100-yard game as Burris gets to the middle. And for Reynolds, the 5th in the last 6 games he has played against the Lions. A Lion killer, and now do they kick on?
Well, it's a strategy. You kick on second down, if you, especially this close, Chris, because if you have a bobbled snap and the holder has to just fall on the football, something like that, you could try it again on third down.
The only knock against that is you leave a little time on the clock for the Lions. They don't want to do that, so they will burn a few more seconds off, and now the knee is put down, and DeAngelis will come on to win the game for Calgary. And if he is successful, the Stamps will guarantee themselves a home playoff game, no worse than second. And if Winnipeg wins one of their next 2, BC and Edmonton will be playing not for the crossover next week, but for third place, and third place in the West alone.
One is in and one is out.
That, again, is if Winnipeg wins one of their last 2. But right now, the task at hand, DeAngelis from 22 yards out for the win. And he puts it through, and it's the 7th consecutive Calgary Stampeder victory over the BC Lions. So Wally Buono's team has to go against Edmonton next week, and their playoff fate is still up in the air. We do know Calgary have a flag down. Let's find out what's going on here.
1 minute here.
The end.
A quick conference as both teams emptied onto the field here. Some interesting officiating in BC place.
Let's go! Let's go!
Maybe pyramiding.
Got a procedure penalty. Calgary, no end. It's a 5-yard penalty. We'll replay third down.
They'll try it again. Sometimes in the field goal teams, and as they go find the tee again,
They were packed up and ready to go home. There was some thought that there might have been a pyramiding call against Anton McKenzie, but of course that would have been declined. But suddenly, a little extra drama.
Again, yeah, and puts a little bit more pressure, even though it's still close. And a chip shot.
And this one's never as easy as the first, is it?
Never.
I mean, they were celebrating and going home.
And all of a sudden, for Sandro DeAngelis, and any kicker in this situation has to do it again, those goalposts start to come together on you.
Sandro regroups. And now from 27 out to win it again. And no problem at all. So there'll be a home playoff game in Calgary as he quiets the crowd twice here at BC Place Stadium. Somehow, Wally Buono can't find a way to beat John Hufnagel's Calgary Stampeders. Stamps get ready for the showdown for first with the Saskatchewan Roughriders next week, and again the Lions in Edmonton. Still not sure of their playoff fate. What a game, 28-26. SportsCenter's next.